I'm sure we'll replay it maybe this weekend or something, right?
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of Erock, he spent at least an hour cutting up the Jeremy Piven audio. Thank God we got the Jeremy Piven audio.
Is that what he was doing?
I think to go inside the show a little bit could be fun because Sam was laughing and everybody else. Where's Sam? Where's that sarcastic motherfucker? Because Jeremy Piven was on Good Morning America talking about his, metal poisoning or mercury poisoning?
Mercury poisoning.
Somehow he got mercury poisoning? What the fuck?
And then
Freddie.
And then Erock had to cut it up for an hour?
Yeah.
Take us inside this a little bit, Sam. What happened?
Well, Jeremy Piven, I don't know, it might be good, so I might be, out of the loop on this one, but
yeah.
Jeremy Piven, I guess there's the big story a couple weeks ago that he wasn't doing this play that he's in anymore because he said he got sick from eating fish. He got mercury poisoning.
Right.
So he was on GMA to give this big exclusive interview where he would talk about getting mercury poisoning, which I would assume he's just going to say he got sick. He's not going to come on and say he was lying.
Yeah.
So
why doesn't he talk about the positive stuff that happens to
of
you?
mercury poisoning?
Yeah, you see the fucking head of hair he's got now?
Yeah, maybe that did it.
I think it was the mercury.
And no follicles.
He
doesn't have to
nothing
get
in front, and
follicles.
next thing you know, he's got a fine, hairline and a lot of
mercury.
hair. It's the mercury.
So basically, Steve came in and said, this is important. We got to do this.
Yeah.
Jeremy Piven's going to be on GMA.
Yeah.
And he put Erock on it.
Yeah.
So Erock and
He's shaking his
Steve
head.
then crowded around the TV.
Yeah.
And they're watching it on the big screen live because the source we use to get audio, there's a little delay. So you watch it live and then you remember the audio and go back and cut it up.
Sure.
So the first incident was while Erock was watching the live screen, Steve went back into his office and then he came out and said, "Hey, Erock, could you get this audio?" And Erock goes, "Yes, Steve, that's why I'm watching it." And then Steve goes, "Okay, just reminding you." And then Erock kicked a chair across the room.
Oh. Erock got a little feisty.
Yeah, it gets heated around here.
Yeah, it sure does. And what was the other thing about...
Then Jeremy Piven
part coming up.
starts talking about how sick he was.
Yeah.
And Steve goes over to the TV, and he goes, "This guy says he's sick. I don't believe a word of it."
Uh-oh.
Which, given...
Why is that funny, Sam?
Because given the fact that
He's talking a pot-kettle conversation here?
clear, non-nasally voice Steve was out with a cold for one day this week.
Where is Steve?
Non-nasally voice.
I love the non-nasally voice.
Oh,
And
no.
maybe that person walked out of the office right as a garbage can was being kicked right at him.
Yeah. Steve, a lot
I
of
don't like
staff
this.
very suspicious that you did not have a cold.
I don't like
when you
it,
called
Steve,
it
at
sick
all.
a
Yeah.
couple days ago.
I don't like
happened?
get to defend yourself.
I love how Sam fabricates sentence fragments just to get him, just to instigate.
Ooh.
What did I fabricate?
That was I never
Fabricated.
said that.
Said what?
I didn't say Piven didn't sound sick.
You didn't look at the TV and say, "I don't believe him" for a second.
Yeah, you kind of blocked me from watching and keeping notes of this interview that I had to cut up because you stood right in front of it and turned the remote down just so you could hear it because the show was playing behind you.
Did you believe he was sick and not believe he ate fish?
I was watching the show, but I don't know. Whatever. Anyway.
He was asking you a question. You can't just say whatever.
You just said I fabricated something.
Whatever.
I have limited space to allocate this stupid
But
shit.
you didn't-
He asked you a question
You said I
and
didn't
didn't
make any sense.
Steve, comment?
I don't even know what.
Steve, we're on.
I thought the Piven audio was worth
Bless you.
playing, so I had Erock cut it out.
Right.
So
I don't think Anthony's getting a cold. He's a liar.
But then you said I lied when you
but I didn't say that though.
You didn't look at the TV and say, "I don't believe a word that he's saying."
no,
verbatim.
No, I didn't say that. I
did not.
I know.
But
I
Erock's
probably-
saying that Sam is telling the truth. He heard
Well,
you say
you
it.
kind of just came in and said Sam fabricated all the stuff.
Yeah, but I
And
didn't
now
say it.
you're saying you didn't say it. And Sam said this to you, and you're saying he's lying when he said it right to you.
No, he didn't.
Steve, I was in the office.
Oh, Jesus.
You stood in
Oh,
front of me
Jesus.
while I
I
was
was
watching and taking notes on it, so you could listen to him talk about
Yeah,
being sick.
I said I believe he's I probably said he's like disingenuous or something like that, but I didn't
You
say I
said
don't-
verbatim, "I do not believe a word of what he's saying." I know that
maybe
because
I did. I don't remember saying it. I
as
really
soon
don't.
as you said that, I am Danny and was like, "Steve just said this, LOL," and then Danny LOL'd back. But I wouldn't have made it.
LOL'd back.
We were LOLing about
If
it.
someone intercepted that
Actually,
conversation, they'd probably go, "What are these two fat girls talking about?"
Yeah, exactly. Just like the fucking coffee clutch that exists behind the scenes in this place. It's so silly.
Oh, shit,
What
Sam.
coffee clutch?
You, Danny, Sam, Aaron.
You mean the entire support staff minus you?
Yes, exactly. This is the trials and tribulations of being the fucking kindergarten teacher of Romper Room behind the scenes here.
Oh, wow. You guys
we
are
were-
mature.
we were.
It's I don't mind. It's just, but that's the reality of it. I have to be the fucking nanny of this fucking.
We were laughing at you. We were laughing because you were talking to a television.
I thought
Yeah.
so what?
And then you turned around like you had just addressed the room.
Like I sure showed that, Pippin.
What? Like you've never talked to a TV and discussed before?
Yeah, but when I do it, it's not the irony isn't so in my face of me saying you're faking sick when there was suspicion.
Oh, you thought I was faking sick the other day.
No, I just said suspicion. I did not make that
Yeah,
claim.
we don't know for sure, but
Do not know that.
you did say you were going to, like, battle a cold.
Yes,
No.
I was doing battle. It was me and a saber and flu germs.
Wait, did you have a cold this week?
Yeah, my chick's been home sick with a cold the entire week.
No,
and I've been
not
home.
your chick. You.
Yes.
Yeah. Because Monday you were sweating a lot. And then Tuesday you disappeared.
You're sweating right now.
Yeah.
And it's 17 degrees out.
Dude, I
and it's-
sweat
and it's
all
not
the time.
that warm in here.
I sweat all the time.
I still got
fucking-
my hoodie on and stuff. I'm still a little chilled.
It is what it is. I sweat.
I sweat a lot, man.
I know.
That's
And I'm not on any supplements. I'm not on anything.
All right. And you fought a one-day cold. That's
Yep.
what Sam's getting at, right, Sam?
He said
You got the email.
going to stay here and try to get rid of this cold.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I mean, we just thought was funny because that was the first sentence, but this cold hadn't been set up. Like nobody knew what this cold was because he didn't have a cold on Monday.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay.
That's just
I had one of those 24-hour things. That was, they happen.
oh, okay.
Yeah. That's all.
Get rid of.
I got rid of it.
But Sam, what are you getting at? Like colds usually last more than.
Right. Well, they're like
What's the average cold?
I'd say 7 to 10 days of lingering.
Yeah.
Plus,
Sam, I'm going to make an effort to breathe on you all week, for the rest of the week.
all right. Well, maybe I'll just catch it at 3 in the morning and then be done with it by noon, and then I'll be good.
I hope so. Thank you, Sam.
See, what's happening here is they don't believe you called in sick.
I don't give a rat's ass what they
Probably had
believe.
something else
Yeah,
going on.
people are thinking you were fibbing.
This is the face of someone who doesn't give a shit what they think.
Ooh,
Unfortunately.
oh,
Right.
wow.
It's not productive.
The face of someone who doesn't give a shit.
That helps
That's
the
right.
show.
Yes, it does, actually. Because if I allow everything that you guys say to stress me out, which I used to, but I can't, I would probably blow my head off clean across the fucking room, but I can't do that. So
What happened?
that would help
What's
the
the big
show.
What's the big change where you don't care anymore?
therapy.
Therapy.
Are you in therapy?
Yeah.
Does help, right?
Yeah, it does. It allows you to vent.
Man or woman?
Man.
I can't open up to a man.
Sex cock.
Just can't. That was a good one, Steve. You got to give it to Danny.
I will. I'll give it
That was a
up.
damn good one. I didn't. The fact that you delivered it, like I've never seen a more eager delivery in my
No
life,
kidding,
but it
man.
was a good one. I always have to have a woman.
Yeah. All right. All right. So we got to the bottom of the one-day cold.
Thank God.
Yeah.
I was wrong.
Huh?
I was wrong.
Thank you, Sam.
Steve had a cold for 6
You
hours.
didn't apologize.
So is the Jeremy Piven audio worth playing? Erock.
It's okay. He's just a whiny douchebag.
Yeah.
Oh, don't talk about Steve like that.
Yeah, Jesus.
He asked
Could
you
you
to
leave the
pause.
studio for a second?
What?
Could you leave the studio for a second? So we can talk about it?
Oh.
But I'll hear it out there.
Yeah, why do you want him to leave the studio?
Yeah.
Yeah, say it in front of his face.
Right there. Stay right in front of the wettest face in the fucking East Coast.
Oh my God,
I know, dude. That's bad.
Steve, you're dripping on your shirt.
I know. I don't know why.
Eric, you implying that Steve wouldn't hear when he leaves the studio would mean that he doesn't listen to the show when
and
he's here.
texting to do.
Oh, jeez, that is what you were implying.
today, Erock.
Yeah, Eric's very upset.
No,
He's very emotional. He's very upset. I don't understand
Yeah.
why.
Well, look, there was a couple of things today, Steve.
Is this why you
not
wanted to leave the
necessarily
studio?
not necessarily your fault, but the way you handled it could have been done better. This morning, guys were talking about we should have had the con clip for Ricardo Montalban's death. I spent the good portion of that morning trying to find a computer that would play the DVD because we brought in Rathacon, and 3 different computers had problems reading it or recording it. So I go, Steve, what am I supposed to do? We can't pull this. Oh, send me an email and we'll take care of it. How does that get it on the air?
Because I had to go. I pulled the clip off fucking YouTube.
No,
I had to find it.
All right, but you pulled the one drop where you yelled "con."
Yeah, I understand that.
And also referenced the funeral.
I understand
that would have been good to have, and the part about putting the
I can't
insects
fix
in the
those computers, dude. I can't. What would you like me to do?
Find one that worked.
I don't think any of them fucking work. That's
okay,
the
but
problem.
sending an email and not getting the audio for that particular
would you
segment
like me
doesn't
to
help.
magically extract the audio from the from the DVD? I can't do it.
You can use a computer. You don't have to use magic.
Yeah, thanks. Very constructive. If we don't have a computer that works, I have to get it documented, and I have to send it off to somebody.
Hold your thought, because Sean in Jersey wants in. Sean, yes.
Yes, if Steve's girl's been sick for a while and he got the cold from his girl, how from the same strain is his a 24-hour cold?
Oh, and she's been sick for a while. That's a good
I
one.
have a very resilient immune system.
Steve, you just gotta. No one gives a shit if people take a day here and there, but you can't use the cold excuse and then come in the next day without a sniffle.
I have,
because then you're playing right into these guys' hands.
Well, I play right into everybody's hands every day. It's simply a matter of which way the fucking wind is
Most
blowing.
of us don't know much about medical crap, but we do know a cold is a good 7 to 10 days easy.
Yeah.
Or at least 2.
Almost every single time.
Or at least 2.
Or at least 2. Back to Erock. Erock.
So there was that issue, and the Jeremy Piven audio. Stumpbrain had come in and said, hey, they're going to have Jeremy Piven coming up on Good Morning America. Can you watch it and, see if we can use it?
Yeah, because
okay.
Mike and I have been talking about it up to that point.
Okay, but Mike came and approached me about this. So they go through commercials. It comes on. I'm watching the interview. I'm taking notes. You show up out of nowhere and go, hey, we should get this audio, as I'm standing by the television watching and listening to it. And then I go, I'm doing that right now, Steve. And you looked at me and then just kind of rolled back into the office. Then you came back out towards the end of the interview, stood in front of me, got real close to the television, and was watching in awe as he was talking about how he was sick.
What's the problem with that?
I was doing something!
What the fuck were you doing?
Taking notes for the interview!
And me standing in front of you prevents that? Your ears shut off when I stand in front of you?
You took the remote, you stood over there, and was adjusting the volume while I was sitting at the
touch
desk.
The remote.
Steve, you did.
No, I didn't.
The volume went down on the television as you went closer to it, and all I'm hearing is the show instead of the interview.
He's like, I didn't do that.
It's a brilliant strategy, just to deny everything.
He was turning down the volume so he could win his argument with Jeremy Piven.
Piven and I were engaged in a heated debate, and I had to get my point across.
Okay, but you could have waited till I was done taking the notes
Mr.
and the
Piven
interview
is
was
a busy
over.
man, and I had to win the argument.
Okay, but there was a show going on, and I needed to cut the
But
interview
he was on a
off.
tight schedule.
It's on TV, Steve. It was a one-way
No, it was
conversation. You can't have a
No,
two-way
it was
conversation with a television.
It was real.
Everybody knows that.
No, it was real.
Even if you're sick.
It was real.
It was just
Or not.
frustration, Steve.
It was real.
So, do we play any of these Jeremy Piven clips?
He just sounds like a
I
whiny
think now we
douchebag.
have to kind of play at least 1 or 2,
Really?
just so we know what the whole to-do is about.
Yeah.
What are the best ones?
I don't know. We'll start with this.
Mercury point, too much fish?
Yeah.
Sushi defense here? What
Yes.
is it? Is it true?
It is true, and I felt the same way. I had no reference for it whatsoever. The first week of rehearsal, I started feeling a certain kind of fatigue I had no reference for. I went to the doctor. He tested everything. He said, there's nothing wrong with you. We're going to get your heavy metals in. They came back. They were 6 times what the average person has.
Heavy metals.
Yeah, he's got some. He just, was wanted out of Broadway.
You think?
Yes. Should have said he had a cold for a day.
Would have gotten him out of 1 performance, though. Mercury gets you out of a lot.
A lot of.
I have mercury poisoning.
You should buy a BlackBerry.
Why is that, Sam? Because I really don't understand what you're getting at. What would that be, Sam?
I don't know. I know people. I'm not going to mention any names, but
Okay.
there are people who use their BlackBerry to get out of the responsibilities of their job.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How would they do that? That sounds crazy.
Well, they could
I
scroll
don't
through it. They could look for pretend emails and stuff like that. Some people, I don't know.
Oh, my dear sweet Jesus.
Some people, I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
More Jeremy Piven.
So it's just fatigue, other thing? I mean, at one point you were talking about not being able to remember the lines. What other things?
So at the beginning, that's what it was, and it progressed to the point where that final Sunday, I had problems spatially. I was losing my balance and my memory. The lights were too bright. I couldn't get enough oxygen. I ended up kind of passing out in my place when I got home. I ended up in the hospital for 3 days.
Is this a real thing? Let's get Dr. Steve on the phone.
Yeah.
The mercury
Does he know
thing.
anything
I've
about
heard about the
mercury
mercury
poisoning?
thing.
He's never been there.
You gotta be careful. How much sushi do you have to eat to get this mercury thing?
Don't worry, I heard it.
Was it good?
I didn't know he's
was
talking
it
about
good?
me and my trip to Bombtown. I just
Bombtown.
Wow.
You guys want Steve to leave now? Because he's not going to leave unless you guys are done beating him up.
I wasn't beating up Steve.
Just saying. You rock anything else, Dad?
No, I was just pointing out the obvious.
Well, how come I feel like you're a little mean to Steve?
Yeah, why so mean to Steve?
Just a frustrating morning. Stuff wasn't working. People standing in the way of doing what you were supposed to be doing and then tell you should be doing what you were supposed to be doing.
Don't call Steve stuff.
Oh, stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
all right. Steve, go mop up. Mop up.
Thank you.
What is that about? Come on.
Oh, Jesus.
You're among friends. You can talk. What are you doing?
you're
you
my
know what?
friend.
What are you doing?
If
For
I
real.
if I was on the supplements, I'd say it, but I'm not.
But, you know, this is fun little, like, let's make fun of Steve, but that is a real thing going on.
I
No one
sweat.
sweats like that. Your hair's wet.
Yeah.
Roland used to.
That's true.
Yeah,
You know
Roland
what?
used to.
Roland
Roland used to.
did used to sweat.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is a new thing with him. Roland always sweated.
Roland always looked like he was in a customs line with something shoved in his ass.
What are you on?
Nothing. Nothing. This is, if I had to guess, a byproduct of that surgery I have. It's just, my body just
That was
doesn't
years
process.
ago.
I know, but it doesn't go away. My stomach is still
I've
fine.
never seen you sweat like this, ever.
I honestly
Even in the
wish I
summer,
could tell
my
you.
friend. Even in the summer.
I wish I could tell you. I wish I could tell you. But the honest to God truth is, I'm not on any pills or supplements or anything, and I just, all the time.
Do you have a cold?
Yes, I do. Thank you for asking.
Maybe it's a fever.
Might be a cold.
Yes, I'm very feverish. Thank you, Sam.
It's
Oh,
ready to
wait,
drip
it's
again.
gone.
Yeah, I know.
It's
See?
ready to drip
Yeah,
again.
I know. And it happens all the time, and I don't know why.
You
Except
look like Gary Glitter at his sentencing.
Did he do something wrong?
Not in my eyes.
Thank you.
All right. Are we attempting to make something out of this Jeremy Piven thing?
How much fish were you eating?
Well, I mean, it's an extraordinary case because the reality is the only protein I got for 20 years was from fish. I kind of thought I was doing the right thing. And as a result,
Is this sushi? Is this raw fish? I mean,
you know, this is, unfortunately, with any kind of fish, I thought I was being healthy, you know, because I figured, you know, out of all the meats, fish would be the best.
and these unregulated Chinese supplements, were you doing a lot of this?
No,
or-
no, not a lot of Chinese herbs. I'm a very clean person. I kind of grew up macrobiotic, I call it macropsychotic. So I don't really do Western medicine in terms of, I haven't had much aspirin in my life. So when I would get a cold, I would take a few Chinese herbs. I don't think that's a variable.
All right, this douche is pulling me in. Now I want to hear more.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
guy is like...
But 20 years, not just sushi.